everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie back with you with a design team project for Polka Art Studios. And I am using a couple of kits that I created. It's a 2-hole binder, and I created this into a little journal. So I'm going to give you a flip through of this, and then I'm going to have you come with me. We're going to work on the cover, and I'll show you how to do each of the pages. So the pages are all the same, and I will show you and give you the measurements that I have done on those. So what I've done is, let me just open this up so I can show you that this is a 2-ring binder. And I got this off of Amazon. I will link it below. And so what I've done is I have covered the outside with some fabric, and this is a red and cream colored ticking fabric. I have frayed the edges, and I've just glued that on, and on top of that I added this lace. Then on top of that I have taken one of the pictures from one of the pages of Letters to Santa. And in this kit, I just used the pages, whichever ones that I decided, I cut them to size based on whatever is the cover or if it was on a page on the inside. So on the front here, I have added some stickles. You can see the shine, and I've added some UV resin. So there's lots of shimmer on here. I've also added these corners, these metal corners. I can link those for you. And then I also added these poinsettias here and here, and these I did get from Hobby Lobby. On the spine, I added a trim that I got from Hobby Lobby as well, and then I added some of the same poinsettias on the spine. And then this is the back. And so for the closure, I decided to use a couple of eyelets. So I had these flower eyelets and some silky ribbon that matched with the colors within the kit. And all I did was tie a knot on one side and pull it through to hold it. So we've got it here and here. On the inside, I have covered this with some brown chocolate cover cardstock. And then on top of that, another page from the kit. And on this one, I did add a lot of resin to it, and I did add some stickles, so you can see that shimmer and shine on there. And then these are the pages. I had hoped to put 6 in here. I thought possibly 5, but ultimately I ended up with 4. So the pages that I have constructed are out of a heavier cardstock. And then I have created a flap, so this flips out. It's magnet closed. And then in here is a pocket, and each one of these is done basically the same, just a different decoration. So I've created this envelope, and I made these wax seals using a Christmas Santa seal. You know, the thing you put into the wax. I'm sorry. And I created them out of gold. And then I just printed some of the backing papers and created this small envelope, added some lace here, added a Velcro closure. And then I had found some of these lined papers, and I printed these front and back, and then on each one, they're all the same, I embossed the Dear Santa with the typewriter, so a child could take this and write their letter to Santa. So that was the plan around that. And then this just tucks into the pocket like that. I've added a lot of stickles. The other thing that I've done on all the pages, front and back, is I have added puff tape to several of the pieces and made them 3D. So it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see the 3D. So on this page, I've put this with puff tape here, here, and the train. Also, I've added a lot of stickles to it, so you'll see some shine going on there as well. Over here, I also embossed December 25th. And then this closes with a magnet. This came from, I believe, it was the same kit. I was using another kit also, Letters from Santa. So I can't remember from that one or from the Letters to Santa. But all I did was shrink this down. It's 2 to a page. And on a couple of the pages, I just kind of folded it, added it on here as kind of a little letter that can be written out to Santa. I've also added some trim here on every page, front and back, and I've also added on the front and back these hole reinforcers. And those came from Elizabeth Craft Design. I think it was Hole Reinforcements 1, and I don't believe that that's available anymore. On the edges here, I added some of Tim Holtz Christmas washi, and it was just the perfect size for each of the ends here. So it gave it a little look that looked pretty when you looked at it from the side looking into the book. And here's the back where I did a 3D also, adding the typewriter and also a lot of stickles. Here I just left this one plain so you could write notes on this. Again, we have the same envelope here, and we have the same written paper, so you could write notes on both sides. Here I have popped up this, and then I added a lot of stickles onto the page to give it that shine. Also added the Tim Holtz washi tape here as well. So you'll see it on all the pages, basically the same. Same with here. A different reinforcement, but from the same die set. And then on the back here, again, I have raised up this area right here, added the stickles on here to give it that shine. Same thing with the hole reinforcements and also the rickrack. And also here. Here's another one of those letters that I just folded and put on here. And again, open this up. You have the same envelope inside. You have writing here, and then you also have this, which is raised up, and then stickles is added to that to give it that shine. And again, on every page, you do have this embossed December 25th. More washi tape. And then on the back here, this has been popped up. And then there's a lot of stickles on here, just giving it that shimmer and that shine. It just makes it really beautiful. The kit is gorgeous on its own, believe me. And then the last page, we have the same envelope. So I just used different papers, but basically they are all the same. And then they all have the little piece, I'll show you this last one, inside with the typewriter that has been embossed on it. Kind of hard to see. There you go. So each letter has the same thing. It just may have a different paper is all. And they're all magnet closures, so you won't have them flipping around when you're opening your pages. So they all snap shut. So on this one, I raise this up and I raise this up. And again, a lot of stickles on there. Give it that shine. And then you can write here. And on the back here, I raised up this whole piece here in the center, added the stickles. I also raised this up, and then all I did was resin and add some stickles to this last part, which is the back cover. So that is what it looks like finished. So now what we'll do is I'm going to show you, we'll work on the cover, how I put this together, and then I'll also show you how to do the pages. Okay, so let's get started with the cover. So what I am using is a notebook. And let me give you some dimensions on that. So this notebook is actually about 9 1/4, and it's by 7. And it has about a 1 1/4 inch spine. So the only thing I have done to it is I have added some red and white, kind of a cream color actually, ticking fabric to it. So you can see the ticking fabric. And then the only other thing I've done is I've glued on this lace, and that's just so I could get everything to dry And then that way we can continue on to actually put what I want to put on the cover and also on the inside front cover and back. I'm not going to do anything back here. And I think my closure is probably going to end up being maybe just some sari silk around it or possibly eyelets. I'm not sure yet. So I just kind of want to go ahead and get the cover and then go from there. So what I have done is I have these two Letters to Santa kit from Polka Art Studio. And so what I've done is I've cut them to size using a decollage trimmer. I have inked around all the edges with the walnut stain oxide. And then I've done a little bit of resin on them. So you can see some shine here. So I've added some resin to some of the items just to highlight them a little bit. And these will be the ones that will go on the inside cover, front and back. For the outside cover, and also I'm adding this chocolate brown paper on the inside and also on the front. So on the front, I have Santa with this little girl sleeping, and I've also done some resin on some of the areas on this. So my plan is to put this on here, add her, and then I have some corner pieces here. Let's see, I think they'll go this way. So I'll add them like that. So that's what I want to go ahead and do with you, is show you what I'm doing for the cover and how the cover is put together. I'm going to go ahead and use some Fabri-Tac for the brown piece. Actually, I think what I'll do first is I will go ahead and glue on this top piece, and then we'll go ahead and use the Fabri-Tac and glue the whole piece onto the front. So I have used walnut stain ink for all the edges for this whole little book. So let's go ahead and get this centered on. About 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So we'll get that centered, put that in place. What I like about the resin is the fact that I can put it under the UV light and it gets cured so it's dry. So you don't have to worry about waiting for a length of time. I've also used a lot of stickles on this, and I may come back in and do some more stickles on here, but I'll just do that off camera. You see it all into the flip through. So just going to center this, kind of the same thing, and then I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac, Fabri-Fix, whatever you have, any kind of a fabric glue, only because it's going onto fabric. This little notebook is from Amazon, so I will put the link down below if you are interested in making one of these. So I'm just going to get it centered. I want to make sure I still have enough room on the edge here if I decide to do an eyelet. So press that down really good. And there's the front so far. I love the little shine that comes out of it. And while I have my Fabri-Tac, I'm going to go ahead and put the corners on. So I'm just going to add glue to the backs of these. You could use brads if you wanted to, but I've decided where I'm putting them I don't want to. So I'm going to just put these on each of the corners. I think it frames it in nicely. I also got these corners off of Amazon. I was looking for something that wasn't as large as what I had in my stash, and I ran across these. I think they're kind of pretty. I think that goes really well. I just love her face. Polka Art just does an amazing job on their digitals. They are so beautiful. One more to go. Okay. I'll let those dry a little bit. What what I used for the fabric to put onto the front cover was the PVA glue. It did warp it slightly, so all I did, it's actually a very strong folder, so all I did was just kind of work it back out flat, and it didn't take a whole lot of effort to do that. So that's what I did on that. I'm going to set this aside over here, and let's just work on the inside panels. So really simple. I just cut 2 pieces of this, it's like a chocolate brown cardstock, and I thought it went really well with this. And so I'm just going to frame these in equally all the way around. So let's see, how's our, okay, those feel pretty good. Maybe what I'll do is, see, I just want to make sure they're not going to move. I think they're okay. Okay, so I'm going to carefully open this up. Now this is pretty sturdy, so you're going to get a little bit of a spring action. But all in all, it should be okay to be able to put in your panels. So I cut these pretty much to size, just a tiny gap over here because you want to make sure you can fold this nicely. So we'll just add the glue and get this back one down. Okay, so let's kind of get this as straight as possible. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Line it up as best I can. Matching it as best I can. Okay. There we have it. Inside, front, and back. You can see it's kind of a little bit bowed still, so I would just keep kind of working it a little bit to straighten that out. It's not very much. It's just a little bit. And mostly that is because of the PVA glue drying. But that looks pretty good. Not sure yet what I'm doing on the spine. You'll see that in the flip through. So I wanted to come out and do this, and then the next thing I want to do is show you how to create the pages. So here's a sample of the pages. Okay, so let's get started on how to create the pages. Again, the pages are all the same. So once you do one, you can do as many as you think will fill in the notebook. I believe in this notebook, I'm going to end up with probably 5. I originally thought maybe 6, but because of the thickness of the spine here, I think it's going to be 5. So you would just determine that on your project. Now for these pages, for this particular notebook, they are 9 7/8 this way and 8 1/2 this way. And then you will score at 5 1/2 and 5 3/4. And that creates this little pocket that will flip over. So it's a little flip over page, which is this part of the page. So I have also got all my pieces prepared. I have inked them all. And so also on the holes here, I just used a previous page once I lined it up. So initially I took my notebook and I laid my page in here exactly where I wanted it to be, trying to make it even with the top and the bottom. And then I just made a mark. Once I did one, then each page you would line up and draw with a pencil and use a hole punch to punch the hole. Now I've used a 1/4 inch hole punch on these, so that worked fine, and it goes very nicely onto the notebook rings. Okay, so what I want to do is put what I want in the inside and the outside. And the way I determine that is because there is a magnet here. So I have added a magnet here and in here, and I wanted to make sure that even if I did a pop-up or the pop-up maybe was too thick or something, that the magnet still worked. Now in this case, the magnet works even with the pop-up. But I try to determine where my magnet's going to go. So I've decided that this page is going to go in here, And this is where the magnet's going to go. And my pop-up is actually this. So it'll be down here. So I'm going to try and center my magnet somewhere along in this area right in here. And it will go here, and it will go on this piece once we get the pocket on. So let's see, let's get started. And I think what I want to do is go ahead and do the pocket. So the pocket is just going to be glued right on here. But before we do that, there's a couple things we have to do. One, we're going to mark this and find the center. And then I want to do a little half of a circle punch. So it's 8.5. So 4 1/4, my halfway point. And then I'm using just a 2-inch punch. So this one. And I'm just centering it on that mark. And I'm not going down very far. And then just trying to make sure it's straight. I'll punch that. And then also the piece that is going to go here also needs a little punch. So I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to kind of mark it with this one. Leaving a border. And I'll just mark it right here. So I put a little mark right there. And I'm going to do the same thing. And they line up pretty good. Again, do the best you can. If you don't have a punch, you can use, a part of a cup or something like that. So we just want it to look kind of like that. And I have not inked this side yet because of the punch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quickly. And this again is walnut stain distress oxide that I'm using. Use whatever you like or whatever works with whatever paper you're using, or if you want a different one and you're using this kit, just whatever you like. Now let me do this part here too. Okay, so let's glue this onto here, and then we'll glue a piece onto here before we actually add our pocket. So let's see, let me get some art glitter glue here. And just however you want to border your pieces. If you like a larger border, if you like a less border, whatever you like, then that's how I would cut my pattern paper. It's whatever you like. So let's just get this one on here. I'm just centering it the best I can, like that. Now, before I put this piece down, I've cut a piece so that we don't see the brown cardstock underneath. So I'm just going to glue this piece onto here before I glue my pocket. It's just about 2 inches. Make it as big as you want, or if you don't want it, that's fine too. You don't have to add a pattern paper there. You can just go ahead and leave it. But I wanted to add something. And I've decal edged cut a lot of these papers, so I want that decal edge to be there on this side here. And then the pocket will go here, and that way you don't see all the the extra. Looks like my piece is just a tiny bit too big. I'm going to just take a very tiny smidge off. I was cutting all these pieces and trying to get everything done so I could do the video. So might have been just a little bit off. You know how it is when you're doing some. So I had a couple of pieces I had to recut because it was like all of a sudden I had in my mind, oh, it was this size, when in reality it was that size. And I was like, oh, okay, I better fix that. That's much better. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. Just make sure that this can still fold. So you want to go just as close as you can, but still to be able to fold. Now this is a pocket, so I'm just doing the top, this bottom side, and then the bottom. So where my fingers are, I am not putting glue. And that's so our envelope will fit in here nicely. And then just get it lined up and close to the fold, but not right on the fold. So this should be able to move freely. I'll keep pressing this down, making sure, because sometimes when the ink is on here, it doesn't grab as well. So I'm going to add a little bit more glue. Just want to make sure it's not going to pop up. I don't want any popping up. And then we can let that just dry. Oh, yeah. Lori, you're supposed to put the magnet. Okay, this happened to me one other time. So let me just show you what you can do for the magnet if you forget like I just did. So I have these small little magnets which are really, really strong. So I'll show you what you can do when you make a mistake like I just did. But in reality, try to do it before you stuck in there, before you glue this piece down. So I'm going to just put my magnet here, and I use double-sided tape. And what I'm going to do is stick it down, and then we'll get this side done, and I'll just add something over the top of it. I had to do this on one other one because I get ahead of myself, and we all have those situations sometimes. So I just got a little ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm going to add the magnet right here. And I'm using double-sided tape to secure that down. Then I'll put the other one on top, and I'll add just a little bit of this double-sided tape, just so that when I put it over on the other side, it will stick where I want it to be. And then that way, it's in the right spot. It's just a little bit more tedious to try to get this top paper off when you're only using part of it. Okay, there we go. All right, so then I'm going to just push that down, and then it's in the right spot. I'll do another piece of this double-sided tape over the top, and then we'll remove that before we glue it down. Now to fix this side, I have more of this. You can see I've already done this once before. So I just kind of lined up where the lines are, and I cut a piece. I just want to kind of line up the lines. So then what I'll do is I'll remove this tape top, and then we'll add glue to the back of this, and some more to this. And then I'm lining up this top darker line. So again, just do the best you can. You can always put a little fussy cut over it, which is probably what I would end up doing, but it doesn't look that bad right now, so it's okay. Okay, so let's glue this side down. This side, at least we did right. You know, you kind of have those days. All right, and I'm going to add glue to this piece. And we'll glue this down. And then I just add a little bit more to the magnet. And then trying to line up the bottom with this side as well, just so when the page opens, it looks like it matches up. So again, do the best you can. And now we have our magnet. So we have our magnet closure. So before I move on, I have some of this Tim Holtz tape that I thought went really well with the pink and the red in this. So I'm going to go ahead and add a piece here while we're here. So I'm just adding some more glue because it won't stick as well, and I don't want it coming off. And we'll just add a piece right here in between the two lines, score lines. Then we can trim that later. The other thing I'm going to do is I have rounded the corners on just these corners, not on this side, just on this side. I've used the large one. So I just want to do that. Oops. This is pretty thick paper, and for this project you do want sturdy paper, so sometimes the punch isn't working as good as I would like it to. That's okay. So that's what we have so far. And the other thing I want to do while I'm here is I have these hole reinforcements, and I have 2 for each side. So I want to go ahead and put these on, and I think I'll do them this way. You can add eyelets if you want to. You surely can. So I think I'll do them like this. And where's my other one? Oh, hidden. It's hard to see when it's on the same color paper. These I just had punched out. They are from die from Elizabeth Craft Design. And I think it's Reinforcements 1, which is no longer available from what I understand. But there might be some others, and I have seen some others on Amazon. I don't know how good they are, but I have done that. Then while I'm here also, because if you see on this page, I've added some beautiful shiny rickrack. So while I'm here, I want to go ahead and put that down as well. So I just cut pieces to fit. So I just cut 3 pieces just to fit, just to give it a little bit of, I don't know, it needed something. And then here. And we'll get those glued down. Trying to do as much as I can right here while we're here. So just add your glue and then put down your rickrack pieces. You don't have to do this. This is truly what I wanted to do. I just felt like it needed something else. Not sure if the art glitter glue will work as well as the Fabri-Tac. I may switch over to the Fabri-Tac. Yeah, I think I will. I think because this is kind of like a, it's not really a fabric, it's kind of like shiny. So I think it needs a little stronger glue. So I would recommend, unless you have an actual fabric one, this is kind of like, I don't know, it's not really fabric. Not really sure what it's made of. Maybe like a acrylic base or something, so you'll need a stronger glue for that. So I would recommend using your Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix if you have that, or a stronger glue, or maybe you just have a hot glue gun and that might be your option. So just decorating this up. Just make sure you round your corners before you put these on. If not, you won't be able to round your corners. Fortunately, I thought about that. Hopefully, don't have any more issues. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that's, yeah, the Fabri-Fix is much better than the art glitter glue for this. Okay. So we've got that. I've lost my pin. Okay, well, let's just move on. All right, the other thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and pop this up. Now, off camera, I will go in and do some stickles, but not till all this is popped up. So I just use a pop-up tape that I get from Home Depot. All right, so let's just cut some pieces. Typically just cut a large piece and use what I need. So I think I'm just going to go across here. And across here. That actually is perfect. And I think I'll just cut a few small pieces to add on to this. That's what I like about this tape, is that you can do some large areas and you can do some smaller areas. It does get your scissors sticky. My husband has some stuff that he uses to clean mine for me, so that works out good. So I'm just going to add a few pieces, not a lot, just in a couple of areas. Is this going to work? Yeah. And then let's do a small one here. And even smaller. Some of the areas that might be too tiny, because I don't want them to get caught and lifted up, I'll just glue those, like these little candles here. I may just end up gluing those down. Let's see if I can get this piece here, and I guess that's it. Okay. So what I talk about is these small areas I'll probably end up just gluing down, because the pop-up tape, it's such a tiny area that it's very difficult to get that tiny of a piece on there. So we'll see what it looks like when we get this on. But on some of the others, on the very tiny areas, I have just glued them down with some art glitter glue. So that's all I've done there. Okay, so I'm just going to line it up. Again, do the best you can. Yeah, so I'm just going to glue these two candles down, and that way they don't pop up at any time when you're inside the book. I'm going to do a little bit here, and I think I'll do the very top of this piece right here. Okay, so we've got that. We've got this. So if we flip this over, we've got a piece to go here. So let's go ahead and get this piece on here. And then what we want to do is cover the back. So we've got this one to go here. And we don't need to worry about a magnet. Yeah, just remember, put your magnet on ahead of time. But again, if you miss it somehow, you can always just put a very thin fussy cut of something just to add a little decoration. Now, actually, you know, it works out okay. You can't really see it. And sometimes, you know, you do a project and you have the magnet showing, so it doesn't really matter. Whatever your preference is. Okay, so we got that down. Let's go ahead and do our strip here of the tape. So let's get that done. Okay, so we got that. And then let's do our hole reinforcements. That on. And now we can do our trim as well. And this. And now on this side, I have this as a pop-up. Oh, I think I had one more thing on the other side. Actually, I do. Let's put this on. So I thought we could pop that up as well. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Use this last piece that I had left over. And we'll put a couple other pieces on here. It should be good to go. Okay. All right, let's pop up this guy. I like the 3-dimension. I think it just adds something to this. And this is just a fun project. You know, there's still places in here you can still journal. If you like to journal, by all means, you could still journal on some of these areas here. Not a problem. Okay, so here is where I put this little Santa letter. And so what I did was I just kind of decided where it was going to go. I think this one will end up kind of coming down just a little bit. And then I just started folding it, just kind of diagonally. And whatever I wanted to see, that's what I showed. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just something that just gave it a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of character. Okay, and then I just ink the edges that I folded. And I just went over it a little bit. Maybe it's an old letter that wasn't used. And then I just glued it down. So you'll need to add glue into these little creases. So do that front and back. You want to make sure that these little folds stay. So just press that down good. And do the same thing on the other one. And you don't have to do this. I kind of wanted to do some kind of a scroll looking thing, but I couldn't quite get that to do what I wanted it to do. So I just decided that this was good enough. And then I'm going to ink this part that's white. And then I'm just going to add it right here. A little bit lower than the other one. And I'm not sure, I don't think I'm doing this on all the pages. I want some of the pages to not have it. So I've got this on a couple pages. I'll probably leave the other three available for writing. Again, I'm not a journaler, but I may give this as a gift. I don't know. Okay, so we've got that. So let's look at our page that's finished so we can kind of see where we are. All right, so we have done this part in here. The only thing we have left to do is some embossing, do the envelope, and add the letter in there. I'll do stickles off camera. We've done this part. We've added also the washi in both areas. So we've done that. We've done the back. We've also done the reinforcements and all of the rickrack, the glitter rickrack. So we are down to adding this piece to pop up on the back. Get this lined up like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue down this so we don't have anything popping up. And so there's the back. All right. So again, each page will be done the same. All right, so now let's go ahead and do our envelope to go inside. And it also has a lined sheet for a letter. I did not get this one inked, so let me just go around this a little bit. And I'll have to do a little bit on the envelope as well when we make that. So I cut the pieces. Again, it's going to be based on your pocket. So for this particular pocket here, if you're following me, I cut them a little smaller so that the envelope would slide in here easily, like that. So you just want to make sure it's this way. So this particular piece right here, if you were to use this one with the dimensions I have, is 7.5 by 7.5. And then this, I had a digital from another creator that just had lined paper on it, and that's what I wanted. So I printed it front and back. And then I just cut these down to fit. So it's 5 by 6.5. And then what I'm going to do is fold it this way. Let me ink the other side now. I did decal edge the sides of this. I did not do that on the top. So that's our piece here. Then all I did was I took, and I printed this front and back. So all I did was making sure I have the right size, right side, is I folded it up just kind of on my mat, about 2 3/4 inches, just kind of about like that. I did not measure and make anything, exact. And then I folded this down, and then you have just a little bit of a gap here, just like that, so that you can add in your little letter that goes inside here. Okay, and then all I did was fold these over on each side, and then I just cut these off. And that creates my little envelope flap. Very, very simple to do. If you can see it. Okay. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and crease these. And I'm going to crease this. And ink the areas that didn't get inked. Now, what I didn't like was there was just a little bit, this one not so much, but the other one you could see some of the underneath of the envelope. So what I did is I just took some of this trim right here. And I think I used, let's see, which one did I use? I want to make sure I'm using the same. Yeah, I used this one here. It's just a real pretty trim. And I just cut it to go right here on this side and then trimmed it. So let me just cut a couple pieces. Just do the same length. Again, you don't have to do this. It's entirely up to you. My scissors are a little bit sticky right now. And then I just added the glue and glued these down. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. You don't need a lot. And I just did it to where, because I wanted these peeking out. And then just use your scissors and cut off the excess. It's best to do this part before you actually close up the envelope. And then I'm also cutting this part off so it doesn't hinder my fold. So it looks like that. So I'm going to sew this, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to finish putting it together. All right, so all I've done is stitched here, across the flap, down, and on the other side to create the pocket. You don't have to do that. You can just glue and just make sure it's good and dry. So the next thing I want to do is add this little seal that I had created the other day, and just put it in the center as best you can. I need something I need to trim off here a little bit. There we go. So we're just going to find the center and get this guy down. I can use just the art glitter glue for this. It worked fine on the other one, so I didn't have any problem. Just put enough on there. And then make sure it's upright. Whatever seal you're using, or if you're not using a seal, then you don't have to worry about this. And I'm putting this kind of centered and up a little bit, because I'm going to use Velcro to actually close it up. So I have some Velcro dots here, and so I'm going to use those. So I'm going to put one at the bottom, and the bottom one I'm going to use the clear so you can't see it, and just kind of judge where I want it. That works. And then the fuzzy one, put it at the top, and you can always ink over it if you want to. And so we'll just put that on there and close it up. So that closes our envelope. So that's ready. Okay, so I want a couple things that I want to do. And then I think we are done with the construction of the page. So the first thing I want to do is emboss on this and emboss on this. So I want to use this. It says December 25th, and I'm going to emboss that in gold. And I probably, again, won't do the same thing on all the pages, but I have this on one other page. And since I'll have about 5 pages, I might change it. We'll see. I'm not sure. Maybe I might use the whole thing and use the same thing over and over. We'll see. So we'll stick that on there. And then grab my paper here. And my embossing powder. I have this by Stampin' Up. I've had it forever. You don't use very much of it, so it lasts a very long time. So I'm just going to hold it up and sprinkle this down. Doesn't take a whole lot. Beat the rest off like that. And then while I'm at it, put this back. I want to stamp on this, and I'm going to use this little typewriter that says Dear Santa on it. Thought it would be fitting for this and perfect. So let's go ahead and do that. And I want to put it on this side. So if a child would be writing a letter, they'd have lots of room to write. And we'll sprinkle that. So that looks like that. Put this away. And then I'm going to emboss them and I'll be right back. Okay, all embossed. Nice shiny gold. And here. So now we can fold our note paper. Make sure this is really stuck down here. Good. Okay. And we'll slip that in here. Oh, this one isn't sticking very good. Let's try another one. I want to make sure it's going to stick well. Let's see. Let's grab another one. Maybe I'll add a little bit of glue to it too. Probably some glue from my fingers. So we'll just add a little bit there. And then I won't open it for a while. Just seal that down. And then this tucks right in here. And just make sure in your lace that it goes in here nicely. You can also, if you wanted to, you could add a small tab on this. I find it's pretty easy with this to pull it out, so I haven't had any problem with it. Our magnet works, so that's good. And our page is done, except for the stickles, which I will do off camera because it does take a while for that to dry. So I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys at least how to do the cover, how I did the cover, which is here. Love it. And how to create the pages. So what will happen now is I can show you inside here now that this is dry. So the way this one opens is just pull the 2 rings. So put this one in here like that, and the next one on top, and close it for now. And you get something cute to look at here on the edge. So that's what I will be doing and finishing this up. And then you see everything in the flip through. Okay, so that is my design team project for Polka Art Studio using Letters to Santa kit and Santa Letters kit. And so this is the completed process to create this beautiful journal. Hopefully you guys will give it a try. Check out Polka Art Studio for their kits. And if you like this one, hopefully you'll give it a try. So you guys all have a great day. God bless you all, and we'll see you at the next video. Bye.